So 587 yards of total offense against Boston College. What was the best part of that performance?
It's a great question. I finally maybe coming together, having a full game that we felt comfortable, and going into the fourth quarter, I think that we felt like we had the game in hand, and it was good to got to play a lot of guys, that needed reps, got to do some things, and I think that there's been some. I think in the last bye week we kept talking about the incompleteness of the offense, and we've improved. Certainly, we've had huge wins. We've done that, but just to have a full game where we walked out of there and felt like, wow, we executed at a pretty high level throughout the course of the game. Obviously, there's still some penalty situations that we've got to continue to clean up and continue to emphasize, with our team. But I think that was the best feeling, was getting out of there, making sure that we were confident. We know that, we got a 2-week stretch here. You're tied for first in the league. We know there's things that have to happen around us, but if we control what we can control, then that's going to give us a great opportunity to, have a chance to get back to Charlotte. And that is what it is. And whatever happens, but we just got to make sure that we stay focused. It's fun to get into a bye week. It's fun to come into a bye week after playing like that and winning the games that we did. So
2 games in a row now where Kevin gets over 300 passing yards. How have you seen him take that next step as a true passer?
Well, I think the best thing that he's doing right now, by and large, is protecting the ball. He is doing a great job of not putting it in jeopardy. You've seen him, probably the most underrated plays that Kevin's made in the course of the last 2 to even 4 weeks is just throwing the ball away. Yeah. He gets outside of the pocket. I'm not going to try to do something extra and take a sack or throw the ball to the other team. Like, he gets rid of it, and we go play the next play. And generally, when we do that, right, then we've got a good opportunity to have success. I think we converted 2 first and 20s and a second and 30, and we had some weird conversions during the course of the game. But if you can get us, to that next play, then you can do that. So that's been the number one advancement of Kevin's game. He's got confidence. I think our team feels that confidence. The skill players, the line, as everybody keeps coming together and we keep trying to just iron out and get through all that. I think that we've had to overcome some, it's just one of those years where you have more injuries than others. And so far we've been able to maintain through that and put ourselves in position to continue to have success on offense.
And sort of on the flip side of that, you run for over 200 yards against Boston College. How big do you think that is for the team's confidence to know, okay, we can run the football at a high level?
No, that's enormous. That's something that we have been talking about doing all year. I do think that we include a lot of our run yardage in our speed screens and things like that. We include perimeter yards in our run game as far as what we're doing internally. Now that shows up as pass yards on the stat sheet, so that's something that we have to make sure that we are being true to what it is that we're getting done. But as far as handing the ball off and gaining yards, that's the simplest way to do it in football, and we got to make sure that we have an opportunity to execute at a high level. We got a great defense coming up here in 2 weeks that's been really good at that. Obviously Miami was elite at that, so we've got to make sure that we continue to instill in our guys that the path to victory is through the run game. And I think that having a chance to go on the road in a tough environment on the red bandana day and just everything that was pouring into that game, and those guys to get down there, be able to settle down and execute, it just gives you, when you can do that, it gives you comfort. It puts less pressure on Kevin to have to make every single play and every single throw. Man, just get the ball, let's get it moving forward, and then when the time comes for him to execute a high level play that we need him to, then good, we can do that. But it's not every 1st and 10 feels like 4th and 7. So.
And it seems like at tight end, RJ and Matthew are really close to 100%. We've seen them make some big plays. How have you seen them really get better as the season goes on?
Man, it's been fun to watch that group. I do think offensively we can support 2 tight ends. I think we've proven that over the course of a number of years. But to see where they're at statistically and doing all that, I do think that both of them are playing really well right now. Matt's at a really, really high level. I think RJ is feeling as confident as he's felt all season doing what he's done. We are substituting in and out and getting, making sure that they can stay more fresh than they have in the past, which is great, and gives us an opportunity in the fourth quarter to really have guys that are in there and contributing and working. And in games like we had Saturday, now you can get those younger guys in there that need reps. We need Trippier to get reps and Adam Moore to get reps, and obviously Stone's going to get his through the course of the game. But that's been fun. I think that there's I stand by the fact that I don't think that there's a better tight end room in the conference. And I know we said that early on, and I think that those guys have proven it. I think they're like tied for 6th or something in the ACC and for tight end receptions, which is pretty good. When you got 2 of them that are up there in that top area, then you've got a chance for them to share and distribute and be equal in what it is that they've done, and then really help. We can put a lot of strain on other defenses when those guys can be in the game, and what we're getting out of Stone and doing that. And so it's been fun. It's been fun to coach them. Obviously I'm going to enjoy it. I've never coached a tight end room quite like this. There'll have to be, we got to rebuild it and play some guys next year. And but this year we're going to enjoy having these guys, and I know their senior day is coming up, and so hopefully that'll be a great celebration of all they've invested in our program.
You talked about rotating them in and out and staying fresh. It seems like this bye week comes at a perfect time. How do you make sure as a team that you take the most advantage of this bye week?
Yeah, that's a great question too. It does fall at the perfect time. Needed to. Since the death penalty, SMU's not played 6 consecutive Power 5 games, and we just did. And so without a bye week. So coming into this, we're beat up, not just on offense, defensively too, and so that comes from just a body recovery aspect is super important, I think. And so what, our biggest goals, I think, for this week are to lean into the positives that we've had, right? We just went 5-1 over that same 6-game streak that I talked about that's never been done in school history, and including wins over Clemson and Miami. And so now you're rolling in here, and you've got a chance to maintain the momentum that you need to do, right? The things that we've really been good at the past couple of weeks, which is playing fast, playing, physical is kind of one of those that you got to give a little bit, but you got to play fast. You got to lean into the recovery portion of what it is that we're doing, and you got to make sure that the sloppiness that still exists in the game sometimes, that we're doing everything that we can to extinguish that, so we can continue to execute at a high level, which is what you saw on Saturday. And so I think that the emphasis from this week, there will be a little bit of Louisville prep, right? We got to make sure that we get to introduce them. They play Friday night against a very good opponent, and so we have a chance to do that. They're not focused on us right now. They can't be, just like we couldn't be in some of those other situations. So we can take advantage of a little bit of that, but a majority of this week's about us, right? And there's a health aspect that goes to that, but there is finally a jaw set November mentality that's kind of settled on our team, that I think that they understand, that we've been exceptional in November, right? At 13-1 or whatever it is in the 4 years that we've been here. So it's there is a November mindset where they flip the switch. They can see themselves, Coach Lashley, when he first took this job, and has talked about it every year, has talked about playing meaningful games in November. And that's one of the reasons that we're playing meaningful games in November, is because we win. And our kids are confident in November, and they understand how to finish. And whereas maybe we weren't finishing individual games early in the year, I think that we've spent a bunch of the season trying to refocus on that and getting to finish. And you're talking about 2 losses that we had. They kicked a field goal on the last play of the game. So, I mean, you're that close to being 9-1, but you're not. And so I think that we got a great opportunity here. 1, just to get healthy, but 2, to really make sure that the mentality and the mindset of our team this is not an off week. This is a bye week. This is a prep week. This is an investment week. Let's get our bodies better. Let's make sure our tempo's right. Let's clean up the penalties where we can clean them up. Let's do all the things that winners do in November. And I think that's the biggest goal about what we're trying to get done here.
Last one for me, just Jordan Hudson. The staff knows what he's been capable of for years, but he's really starting to produce on the field. How satisfying is that for, of course, him, but also just for the whole team to fulfill his potential?
Yeah, well, anytime you get your best players playing their best, then that's what you want to do. Jordan is obviously a unique talent, right? I mean, as I was telling a pro scout out there today, I've seen 3 like him in my entire coaching career. One of them was Robert Meacham, who was a first-round pick, Rasheed Rice, and then him, as far as a skill set at his size. And so being able to capitalize on that is great for him. Obviously, it helps drive our offense, right? Gives Kevin great confidence, gives him more confidence in what we're doing, and it opens up other guys on the field. Now we really got to focus on this guy. Oh boy, but now this guy, and you know what I mean? And you got Matthew Hibner and RJ Maryland and Romello Brinson and Ymir Knight and guys that are doing that. And then all of a sudden TJ Harden's rushing for 150 yards, and now all of a sudden, okay, this is a real problem on offense that we've got to deal with. And so So yes, really happy for Jordan, because I think that he's finally getting closer to closer to the potential that he's always had. That's kind of reflective, maybe, of even our offense. Man, we've had great potential this whole year. We're getting closer and closer to that. It's happening as Jordan's doing his, and it's, you know what I mean. It's you want to break at the right time, right? You want to break at the right time, and I think that we're kind of maybe in the flow to where if we can break on offense right now, then this is the time that you want to be doing that, right? 2 big games left ahead with an opportunity to get you to the ACC championship game, and then whatever the postseason, has in store for us. But really, really happy for him, and it's kind of a, a smaller picture of what our offense is doing right now too, I think. So, pretty good. Nailed it. All right.